Today on the Toppy Show, Kentucky voting machines won't allow people to choose Donald Trump. Trump files a lawsuit against CBS for deceptively doctoring the Kamala Harris 60-minute interview. Tim Walz calls Elon Musk gay while at a rally. ABC accidentally airs the presidential election results. Mark Cuban says that women around Trump are all stupid. Ford pauses the production of the F-150 Lightning until 2025 due to lack of demand. Starbucks cancels their olive oil coffee. BYD passes Tesla for the very first time. And McDonald's, their E. Coli outbreak spreads even more. All of that, much more on The Topping Show. Thank you everyone for taking the time to tune in today. Today's episode of The Topping Show is proudly sponsored by Topping Technologies. Topping Technologies is an IT value-added reseller and services company with a special proficiency IT security. Heck, I see their founder at least twice a day. Gotta say he's quite handsome and brilliant. He's me, see that's the joke. If you're an IT leader or business owner, you can reach out to the team at sales@toppingtechnologies.com. Also, giving away a free flamethrower with every IT purchase, and yes, it can be attached to a Picatinny rail on the standard AR-15 because, of course, it can be. It's awesome. Go to toppingtechnologies.com to learn more about that fun promo. Again, free flamethrower with every IT purchase. Lastly, trying to get to 4,000 subscribers by the end of the month. So if you can click that button and tell your friends, I would greatly appreciate it. Now going to the business part of the podcast, you have Ford. Well, they're actually pausing production of the F-150 Lightning until 2025. Nearly a whole fiscal quarter, which is pretty ridiculous in terms of lack of demand for a product. Now this comes to us thanks to Nico, who is a writer at The Drive, in which they say, quote, Ford is stopping F-150 Lightning production until 2025 because sales are that bad. They say that Ford EVs have been piling up on dealer lots, but CEO Jim Farley is still confident in the company's strategy around electric vehicles. There you can see the, I was about to say iconic, well, not in all the good ways. It's kind of the outline of the F-150, the Ford F-150, but this is the electrified version, which, it does have that unique little band that goes around the whole thing for the light, for the F-150 Lightning. It has a light bar that goes across it, which you see a lot of EV companies doing for the, or car companies doing for the EV models, which is a simplified way to delineate them. And then you have the grill. It isn't really a grill because again, they don't need an actual grill. So it's there in texture and color only. And yeah, another great fun fact, if you're buying a new car or going to a dealership, one of the best ways to negotiate is just look up on the internet, what's the age of the vehicle on the lot? Now that's one of the biggest metrics for car dealerships is the longer that car is on the lot, the more days it's on there, the more it's costing them money because usually they don't actually own the vehicle. It's called basically a fleet loan or a floor plan more accurately. So every day that car is on the lot, they're actually paying interest on that car. Because again, they're not buying them outright in cash 999% of the time. So if they have such little demand that these cars are collecting dust on dealer lots, that's terrible news and that's bad for the dealers. I mean, I suppose it's good news for the 18 people who want to buy these things because, again, that means you have a lot of leverage in terms of the consumer. Because this means a lot of these are starting to just pile up by dealerships and collect copious amounts of dust and all type of dirt, which isn't good for EVs. They say, quote, Ford has announced it has temporarily paused F-150 production from mid-November until at least the end of the year due to the low demand and the state of dealership stock. It's a very polite way of saying people aren't buying that. Ford's EV pickup line in Dearborn will shut down at the end of November 15. As of now, manufacturing is expected to pick up on January 6th if people start to buy it again. I added that last part. They say, quote, we will continue to adjust production for optimal mix of sales and growth profitability, said Ford in a statement. This news comes after a recent Q3 earnings call in which CEO of Ford, Jim Farley, stated that the brand's electrical vehicle lost, $1.2 billion last quarter. Farley also expects a $5 billion loss for EV division in 2024 as a whole, which, I think it was, $132,000 per EV sold. Again, when you kind of take those numbers and divide by the EV sold. That being said, they're slowly moving in the right direction where if they keep the same trajectory, they'll eventually make a profit on EVs. But again, things also come up, so we'll see. Now, here you can see, I don't know if you would want to, but here you can see an F-150 allegedly driving down the street. I say allegedly because it is a Ford vehicle, so there's a high propensity that this is just an automated or maybe just a Photoshop. It's very rare to see the vehicles actually moving down the streets. I'm only partially kidding. And I say, quote, Ford EV losses aren't entirely resting on the F-150 Lightning shoulders, though. The automaker has a, 100-day supply of F-150s as well, though it didn't specify how much of it is being represented by Lightnings, which, yeah, the shareholders should be irate. Give us the actual data, Ford. They're saying they have that much of a pilot for F-150s in general, but they're not delineating that the good F-150s actually make them money, also known as the ones that have gas engines, or the F-150 Lightnings, which lose them money right now. Either way, 100-day supply, that's pretty bad. I mean, you want to, like most things like, you want a good balance, but yeah, having that much. Now, they also have a 130-day supply of the bastardized, oh, I added that last part, Mustang Mach-E's, and a 128-day supply of the E-Transit vans. Which, yeah, that's terrible. Don't get me started on the bastardized Mustang E Mach, which Mustang in name only, obviously. Now, Farley said that things should look up for Ford's EV business in 2025, although it's unclear if he expects that progress to come from increased sales or reduced cost. According to Morgan Stanley analyst Adam Jones, Ford EV losses are projected to drop from $5 billion to $4.4 billion in 2025, which, again, that's slightly better. And granted, some companies take years to make a profit on a new product. EVs are even more, more difficult to actually get that long term. They also say, quote, the future of Ford EVs seems murky at the moment. This past August, it pushed back on its next generation electric pickup in 2027, delayed the new electric commercial van into 2026, and switched plans for its electric 3-row SUV plug-in hybrid, which, yeah, they canceled that because about 18 people wanted it, and about one of them would actually pay for it. So, yeah, it's one of those things where I don't see production. We'll see. I mean, I don't see demand for this picking up a lot Q1 next year. Now, granted, partially, say majority is still Ford's fault, but a big thing with auto industry right now for all companies is, well, unprecedented economic and political uncertainty, as well as high interest rates, which both don't bode well for one of the most expensive things most consumers will buy in their lifetime, which is an automobile. So a lot of people I know, anecdotally speaking, they're putting on pause on all major purchases. I think 2 people have bought cars past couple of years because their cars broke, and one of them, they got a new car just because Dodge was doing a fire sale, which, don't get me started on Stellantis, their state of business or lack thereof. But yeah, it's just not a great overall for the automotive industry. Ford also lost their place in terms of being the second automotive EV manufacturer in the U.S. by volume of EVs, where GM actually passed them up, with of course Tesla being on top. So, not great news for Ford with the F-150 Lightning being, literally shut down. The demand is that low, which, again, that's nearly unprecedented in terms of automotive, because, again, doing all this takes time, energy, and resources. Shutting down a plant also, you have to ramp that up. I'm pretty shocked. I guess you shouldn't be too shocked that they're shutting down because of lack of demand, but let me know, do you know anyone who has actually bought an F-150 Lightning? Now, anecdotally speaking, well, perhaps better than average sample size since I live in the great state of Texas, we have a lot of pickup trucks here. Now, I have seen 2 F-150 Lightnings, interestingly enough. Of course, there's nothing in the bed of the truck, and they weren't towing anything, but nevertheless, they did exist in the real world, and I was pretty impressed that the people actually bought them. But let me know, do you know anyone who's actually bought an F-150 Lightning, and do they enjoy it? Let me know in the comments, because as always, be fascinated to hear what you have to say. Other interesting business news, you have Starbucks canceling their olive oil coffee. Oh, I was about to say, what did the Italians say? I can't think of anything except Lamborghini and Ferrari and, is it Gucci? Fancy fashion. But nevertheless, in all seriousness, this comes to us thanks to Mr. Silva over at BBC. You can see some of those interesting coffees, which, yeah, they look funny. They quote, Starbucks drops olive oil coffees as it shakes up the menu, which, yeah, the new CEO is coming in. They want to consolidate that menu and make it a little bit more simple. But what will we do? Otherwise, it just bugs me. Not a good picture because it definitely takes away the focus from the funky looking coffee that probably has more chemicals than a Walmart home repair section of the store. But this person has fingernail paint. Was it matte green? So it's not even the Starbucks logo, which would have been at least make a little bit more sense. But yeah, that's weird. Nevertheless, this interesting chemical concoction they have in the cups there. And they say, quote, Starbucks is dropping its much hyped range of olive oil infused coffees in the US and Canada from early November. This announcement comes less than a week after the new boss, Brian Nicole, promised to shake up the coffee's menus in order to consolidate everything, make things a little more simple for the baristas, and win back some customers. Firm sales have been tumbling as consumers see their budget squeezed by the rising cost of living and the U.S. government causing inflation with their ineptitudes on the left and the right. And yeah, they're literally selling a product that no one on the planet needs. It's fancy coffee or, let's be honest, a glorified candy bar in a cup for most of the menu. Now, they say, quote, Mr. Nicole, who previously headed the Mexican food chain Chipotle, brought into Starbucks to help turn the business around. He promised to simplify the, quote, overly complex menu and hopefully turn the stock around. Now, this is actually one of Mr. Schultz, the founder of the company, one of his last ideas where he stepped away, where he's helped turn the company around twice from, seemingly the brink of bankruptcy or the brink of failure. And yeah, this is an interesting idea. I don't know how much demand there is for this in the U.S. And in terms of their sales, a typical sales rule for most businesses is 80-20, or 80% of results will come from 20% of your efforts, so to say. Or if you're like Starbucks, 80%, on average, 80% of your revenue or your sales will come from 20% of the items on the menu. So I really debate how much money do they really earn when they introduce a new product, or is it really just a flash in the pan? But especially right now when people are trying to consolidate their costs and not buy extravagant things they don't need, I'm not too surprised that they're going to actually cut back on their menu items here. And I suspect, though, I don't think anyone in the U.S. is going to miss it. I remember I covered this a couple months ago, and I thought it was interesting. They're trying new things, but I'm not sure if that's the best thing for Starbucks to be doing at the moment. So I suspect this would be a good idea to, cut the fluff, so to say. And, well, 'tis the season, they'll probably just put more artificial pumpkin crap into there, and so people gobble the things up. But let me know in the comments, you're going to be really upset you won't be able to get this olive oil infused coffee. And do you know anyone in your group of friends who have actually purchased it or tried it or whatever, or would even want to? Let me know in the comments, because as always, be fascinating to hear what you have to say. Other interesting business news, you have BYD passing Tesla for the very first time. Now, BYD is the largest automotive manufacturer in China, as Trump would say. And they had recently beat Tesla overall, but there's a little caveat. BYD makes hybrids as well as EVs. So there's always that thing of, well, are they really beating Tesla? Well, now they are. And this should scare the living bejesus of every automotive manufacturer on the planet, because it's going to pretty much darn near impossible to beat China at a price point. And in terms of replicating and ripping off technology, they're second to none, which is why I suspect so many countries across the globe are going to increase the tariffs exponentially against China automotive manufacturing companies, because I think that's realistically the only way you can possibly save any traditional automotive company. Now, this comes to us thanks to BBC. Here you can see one of their BYD EV SUVs, which at a quick glance looks like the bastardized Buick, which still makes SUVs and still exists somehow. Only partially kidding. Now, this comes to us thanks to Mr. Silva, and he says, quote, China's BYD overtakes Tesla revenue for the very first time. And it is a pretty penny. They say, quote, the Chinese electric vehicle giant BYD has seen its quarterly revenue soar, beating Tesla for the first time. It posted a more than 200 billion yuan, the Chinese money, not your friend Juan, and they'll translate that to US fiat money. That's $28.2 billion, apparently. And that was a revenue from between July and September. That's a 24% jump from the same time period last year, and more than Elon Musk company, whose quarterly revenue was 25.2 billion. However, Tesla still has more EVs than BYD in the third quarter. It comes as EV sales in China have been getting a boost from government subsidies to encourage customers to trade their petrol-powered cars for EVs or hybrids. Which, yep, all those subsidies, and again, a lot of governments do it. In the U.S., they're giving away, what, $7,500 in tax subsidies if you buy one of those EVs? Which, maybe one day as I'll get into office, I'll give away $10,000 subsidies if you buy a car with 3 pedals, also known as manual transmission, also known as the best way to drive a car, bar none. Probably crazy. Or maybe I'm just being innovative to save the ICE engine and the 3 pedals. I partially jest. They say, quote, earlier last week, European Union tariffs increased up to 45.3% of imports of Chinese-made EVs came into force across the bloc. Now, Chinese EV makers are already facing 100% tax in the US and Canada, which, again, another thing about politics, where you might not be interested in politics, but it's very much interested in you. Very famous quote. I mean, Trump is estimating, or he's promulgating that he's thinking of maybe doing a 200 as much as 1,000% tax, or tariff rather, on incoming Chinese EVs. Now, they also say the tariffs are responsible to alleged unfair state subsidization of Chinese car industry, which, you can debate how much unfair it is, because again, other countries, including the U.S., also has subsidies for a lot of the U.S., a lot of U.S. manufacturing. especially when the U.S. wants to push them and bullying them into doing what they want. They say as of last week, the official data showed 1.57 million applications have been submitted for the nationwide subsidies of $2,800 per each older vehicle trader and for a green one, which, yeah, it's actually less than remember, $7,500 the U.S. government is giving away in taxpayer money. They say, quote, China has been counting on high-tech products to help revive its flagging economy, and the EU is the largest overseas market for the country's electric car industry. Its domestic car industry has grown rapidly over the past 2 decades, and its brands such as BYD have become moving into international markets, prompting fears from the likes of EU, and so subsidies will be unable to compete with cheaper prices, which, yep, the ineptitudes of the European Union are myriad, and another reason why big government never works. Feel bad for Porsche and Germany, where they're killing the ICE engines there, and the great gas-powered vehicles there, which, again, they're going to lose to China because you can't beat them on a price point and ripping off technology. So I'm pretty skeptical in terms of anyone trying to put any money into investing in automotive companies these days. Again, not financial advice, but yeah, BYD is going to keep exponentially increasing in size, scale, and capabilities, and depending on how the laws are written and how the tariffs are applied, well, I mean, Trump stopped them from building a huge assembly plant in Mexico, which again that would supplanted some taxes. But what if they go to another place? Maybe they go to Canada or something like that, or maybe set up an independent subsidiary. It'll be a cat and mouse game for sure. It'll be interesting to see how it works at the end of the day. But again, it's very interesting. I mean, BYD is chooching along, and they finally passed Tesla. I mean, I'm not sure if they're going to be able to keep up this momentum. I really don't see much stopping them, even with some of these tariffs. Because again, China can get that price point down so much. They may even be, even with big tariffs, they might even still be able to be competitive with local domestic manufacturing. So definitely a huge threat for the automotive community. And I mean, these days, the fewer and fewer people care about, made in America or made in their home country. I mean, personally, I try to buy American made or make it myself as often as I can. But that's another big sentiment we've seen shift throughout the past decades with automotive manufacturing and automotive companies as well. So I think, that's all the more reason why BYD is going to be a bigger and bigger threat. But let me know in the comments, because as always, be fascinated to hear what you have to say. Now, going over to the Culture Prod podcast, you have Mark Cuban saying that the women near Trump are neither strong nor intelligent. Which, yeah, Mark Cuban. Interesting fellow, to say the least. Well, that's a nice way of putting it. He, best known being on Shark Tank, and interestingly enough, he made billions before DEI, and then to stir controversy, he started recently put into all his companies, except on basketball court, of course. But interestingly enough, if you follow his businesses on the good old LinkedIn and all this stuff, you notice pretty much all the white guys are fired for his companies, and they're replaced with minority folks. Interesting business move. Seems like discrimination, but I'm sure he won't face any legal ramifications. Now, this was interestingly enough brought to us thanks to John Rich. He says, quote, Mr. Panic Mode, aka Mr. Cuban, says there are no strong or independent women supporting Trump. Ladies, care to post this in your comments? And not aging gracefully, that's for sure. Let's see here.
Donald Trump, you never see him around strong, intelligent women, ever. It's just that simple. Donald Trump, you never see him around strong, intelligent women, ever.
Great way to insult Donald Trump's wife, his daughters, daughter-in-law, his whole family, all of his friends, all of his colleagues, all his coworkers, and everyone who supports him at a single time. Which, again, this is not too different than Biden calling all of Trump's supporters trash. I don't know why Democrats do this. It's not a good business move, but again, Mark, he's supposed to be a brilliant entrepreneur. You're alienating a lot of prospective clients by doing this. I don't understand. Again, I think that's why a lot of people like Trump. He doesn't talk smack about the other people who support Hillary, or in this case, more accurately, support Kamala, or more accurately, just support the DNC. Yet you see the other side constantly talking, as youth might say, talking smack about the supporters. Now, Trump is too nice to actually say. I don't think he'll actually say anything to Mark or anything bombastically about him. But inside Trump's head, what might he say about the situation? Probably say something to the effect of, Mark Cuban, every day looks more and more like a lesbian. I thought for a minute it was Rosie O'Donnell talking smack. Ridiculous, obviously. This is the same guy who says Kamala's good for business. No one likes that. I've never met a single small business owner that likes Kamala. Obviously, that's foolish. That's probably what Trump is thinking inside his head. And this one pretty probably got 1.5 million views and 25,000 likes, with one of the first comments coming from Sarah Palin, Really? Is that really her account? Really? It is. Interestingly enough. She's getting out of social media again, apparently. She says, quote, wow, impotent dudes who are all talk choose not to meet with other women in person at a town hall. Says it all. Got 1.7 thousand likes. John Rich said he's a $1 billion beta, getting 879 likes, which, again, Mark Cuban saying that small businesses support Kamala Harris or business owners support her is like so mentally vacuous. She wants to increase corporate tax rates on businesses and increase regulation. Like, no small business likes her policies. No small business owner could possibly, no. Like, I work with a lot of small businesses. I've never heard one say, I really hope Kamala gets to become president. I really hope regulations go up. I really hope my taxes, I have to pay my employees less because the corporate tax rates go up. Yeah, no one has ever said that. Let's see. Torser says, I already posted my comment. Trump married a strong, intelligent woman. There's a picture of Melania getting 1.7 thousand likes. Sparky Brew says, I worked as the chief architect at one of Trump's buildings. I work with top-notch Ivy League educated women. We were all conservative and Trump supporters as lawyers, architects, engineers, construction management professionals. Mark Cuban can pound sand and his women employees should leave. Got 1.9 thousand likes. Molly Pitcher says Mark Cuban can hush. What was it? The 1950 caricature of a gentleman in a suit. Well, as all mentioned, always suit up. Mark Cuban is wearing a t-shirt. Ridiculous. And the caricature, the cartoon says, STFU liberal asshat. You and your shitty domestic terrorist party are no longer taken seriously. Getting 1.1 thousand likes. Jenny Jane says, Dear Mark, it's another comic. This girl says Trump owns you like a bitch. Getting 1.2 thousand likes. Indextria American Truther says, Mark Cuban, this is who he really is. And they put a little extra makeup on Mark Cuban and gave him some red lipstick. Got 2.7 thousand likes. Which, again, I don't know. Again, the big red flag of Mark Cuban. And again, in terms of, broadcast.com, and it is hilariously ironic he hates patents, yet he's a billionaire because of the patents he had for his video broadcasting technology. So ultimate hypocrite there. But I do appreciate the fact that he's built multiple successful businesses, but I don't know if he's getting paid off by Harris or something like that, but it's so bizarre. Like, no small business owner is shilling for or supporting Harris. Like, no, it's ridiculous. And yet every day he's spending most of his life on the Twitter just trying to pump her up. Getting maybe, I don't know how many people are influenced by Mark Cuban one way or the other. But yeah, let's see here. Hit contrarian moments here. Let's see. Scroll down more and more. Bree Wheeler says, why do all the white dudes for Harris look like Rachel Maddow? Getting 913 likes. Good question. Sarah Smith says, so many beautiful and intelligent MAGA women out there. Too bad he will never get the opportunity to experience a real woman. Getting 216 likes. Moon Crow says, strong, intelligent women for Trump. Getting 394 likes. Washington Ghost says, why is this lesbian so angry? Getting 344 likes. Sister Wendy says, well, this intelligent, strong piece of trash voted for President Trump yesterday. Getting 385 likes. Picture of someone by the name of Chica Tomorrow says, women love President Trump. It's a picture of, well, it's a cartoon anime of President Trump as well as, let's see here. I think it's Tulsi Gabbard. Got 148 likes. Which, yeah, it's one of the most insulting things you could say to someone. Yeah, no one around Trump, not a single woman around Trump is smart or intelligent. Like, literally insulting every woman Trump's ever basically, like, yeah. And it doesn't make, yeah, it's almost incomprehensible how mentally vacuous Mark Cuban is in this moment. He outdoes himself. This is kind of funny. Right Wing Knight says, quote, Mark Cuban surrounds himself with dumb, weak women. In his picture of AOC, Kamala Harris, what is this? Nancy Pelosi, Maxine Waters. Yeah, got 5 likes. Let's see here. Squirrel Run Farm. That's a picture of a cat, and it's a little meme that says, do you ever just listen to someone and think, holy shit, you have got the IQ of a crayon? Getting 2 likes. Which, yeah. So not too many people sticking up for Mark Cuban at the moment. Again, that being said, I'm sure a lot of Democrats believe in him. They are, I'm pretty sure, maybe they'll list to him. They think this is a good idea for him to do this. But, I mean, this is not going to get people to switch from voting from Trump to Kamala if you just insult them. Like, you never win an argument by insulting the person across the table. If anything, you want to try to build some common ground, find some type of shared values, and just show them your perspective and why you think your methodology might be more accurately, more effective, or just a better solution. And sometimes they'll follow you over, and yet, yeah, Mark Cuban just goes, "Oh yeah, the women around Trump are done." Ridiculous. And I really wonder how many people still pay attention to Mark Cuban or what he's up to in terms of cultural relevance. But it did go viral, not perhaps because of the reason he wants, but yeah, it's one of those things where, do you think this will move anyone one way or the other on the political needle, or in terms of getting people to vote for one side or the other? Let me know in the comments, because as always, be fascinated to hear what you have to say. Going over to the political part podcast, you have a Kentucky election machines won't let you choose Trump, allegedly. Now, this comes to us thanks to good old X Twitter. This comes from Right Angle News Network, which, A+ for marketing. Their logo is, in fact, of a right angle, which, if you went to public school in the United States, unfortunately, you might not know what it is, but basically it looks like this. Looks like an L. Good life hack. I'm only partially kidding. Now, again, this comes to us thanks to Right Angle News Network. They say, quote, breaking, Kentucky voting machines are refusing to let voters select Donald Trump. Wow. Automatically selecting Kamala Harris instead. Watch. We'll go ahead and I'll explode this on the screen here. So someone with a touch screen, was it 4 or 5 times? So you try to press Donald J. Trump and JD Vance 5 times there? 6 times? Whoa, there you go. Now he switched hands too, so it's not as if one hand might have had a smudging or anything. They tried 5 or 6 times with the right hand. Now with the left hand, let me replay that. They pick Trump, and the computer selects Kamala Harris, Tim Walz. Wow. Look at that. One more time. The slow-mo. Actually, do they have slow? Yeah, they got slow motion technology here. The playback speed, we'll do 0.25 to build the suspense, though you already know the outcome. Whoa. And they try to pick Trump again, so you got to try to go back up and click on him. And nope. Interesting. And this went pretty viral, thankfully. Got 21.3 million views as well as 109,000 likes. But remember, it's all a conspiracy. Allegedly. Yeah, it's fascinating how all these glitches and technical errors always favor Democrats. And I've been following this for years. Kind of like government statistics. Oh yeah, there's so many jobs we created. Oh yeah, not so much. We lied about that. We lied, and apparently remember that was just a month ago. Yeah, it was actually less jobs that were created. Errors always favor the government. Now, let's see here. Now, the Right Angle News Network also did an update response. So they say, quote, update, the ballot machine in Laurel County, Kentucky is now offline awaiting inspection by the Attorney General. According to County Clerk Tony Brown, they claim they're unable to replicate the results in the video. Now, scroll down. You see one of the first responses comes from AKA, say, quote, notice how you never see a video like this where it doesn't let you vote for Kamala. Yeah, got 16,000 likes. Oh, I thought I could make it 17,000, but nevertheless. Jay Warning responded saying, quote, yeah, so we're the glitch is always in favor of the Democrats. Getting 310 likes. Paul Zupa says, quote, these errors always go one way. Ever notice that? Getting 1,000 likes. Democrat Media TM says, quote, they're trying to cheat because Democrats can't win without cheating, period. Getting 5.9 thousand likes. Democrat Media TM also has a picture of a poster board, says too big to rake it, getting 75 likes. Tuesday's got 10,000 likes for this one. A little bit of a long comment, but nevertheless, says, quote, the Kentucky voting machines require that you select the party name on the left. The user in the video touches the Democrats using the pinky in the camera, deliberately switches. Got 10,000 likes. Interesting. Firecracker says, I got a solution for you that'll blow your mind. Walk off to a member of staff, communicate the problem like a normal person, get 1.9 thousand likes. Again, we'll see if you can repeat the diagnostics on the machine. Maybe it's just an honest mistake. I mean, I don't think so, but maybe there's a 1% chance of that. Who knows? By the time this video is rendered and uploaded, maybe we'll find out it's all just an honest mistake. This guy is the human error. Let's see here. Joseph Menslodge says, have you ever noticed that when these machines make up these mistakes, 100% of the time. It's always changing Trump to Harris. If it's a system error, wouldn't it be close to 50-50, getting 657 likes? One bad dude says it always favors Democrats, getting 435 likes. Russell Drew says, right, because if Democrats were going to try to steal a few thousand votes, would it be Kentucky, getting 842 likes? All right, some contrarian comments brewing to the surface. Somebody by the name of Canadian Kozar, who of course has a Canadian flag, and a Ukrainian flag, says, quote, I'll take things that didn't happen for 500, getting 826 likes. Hoover, not the vacuum cleaner, says, quote, this is common issue with low quality touchscreens. You need to tap higher. Getting 535 likes, which for how much money we piss away in the United States, we have bad touchscreens for voting machines. Seems ridiculous. Alexander Goose says this is why we need paper ballots, getting 738 likes. Let's see. Which I think more and more people are in favor of these days. Jackie Rutuko says, but these machines are reliable and there's no problem. Don't look over there. Look over there. Getting 85 likes. So yeah, it doesn't bode well in terms of faith in the voting system, because it kind of just erodes what little faith there was left to begin with. And again, we'll see if this machine company gets sued, if it was simply a human error. But let me know in the comments, what do you think? What are the odds it was, a human error? Do you think it was, really, or was it malicious code that was injected last minute? What are your thoughts? Let me know in the comments, because as always, be fascinated to hear what you have to say. Other interesting political news, you have Trump filing a lawsuit against CBS for deceptively doctoring the Kamala Harris 60-minute interview. Now, this comes to us thanks to Colin Rugg on the good old X Twitter, in which he says, quote, breaking, Donald Trump sues CBS News for $10 billion for deceptively doctoring Kamala Harris's 60-minute interview. Trump is directly accusing CBS of election interference to help Kamala Harris, according to Fox News. Trump's attorney says, quote, CBS partisan and unlawfully acts of election and voter interference through malicious, deceptive, and substantial news distortion calculated to confuse, deceive, and mislead the public. Trump says CBS was trying to attempt to tip the scales in favor of the Democrat Party as a heated 2024 presidential election, which President Trump is leading, approaches to a conclusion. They continue saying, quote, President Trump brings this action to redress the immense harm caused to him, to his campaign, and tens of millions of citizens in Texas and across America by CBS deceptively broadcasting content, the lawsuit says. Here you can see, we were wondering if Trump was going to drop a lawsuit on this. Here you can see where they literally made her sound slightly smarter. The bar is quite low, don't get me wrong, but again, it was doctored clearly. So here's the actual answer.
But it seems that Prime Minister Netanyahu is not listening.
Well, Bill, the work that we have done has resulted in a number of movements in that region by Israel that were very much prompted by or a result of many things, including our advocacy for what needs to happen in the region.
But it's
that's one of the worst answers of all time. I mean, she makes my speaking skills seem like a scholar. Now, this is the edited answer that was mass published.
It seems that Prime Minister Netanyahu is not listening.
We're not going to stop pursuing what is necessary for the United States to be clear about where we stand on the need for this war to end.
Which, again, is much more articulate. I mean, yes, again, the bar is quite low. She has those, Volkswagen-sized earrings that look suspiciously like audio gear. But nevertheless, it was a much better presentation for her. This went pretty viral. Got 2.8 million views as well as 82,000 likes. One of the first comments coming from Mace saying, can I get 1 or 2 billion? Okay, I'll sell it for a dark MAGA hat. Getting 1.5 thousand likes. One bad dude says this is exactly what you get from fake news, getting 927 likes. And probably why she won't go on Joe Rogan for a 3-hour interview, because no teleprompter, no corrective editing to make herself sound like she has modicum of intelligence or coherent conversation capabilities. Rihanna Moriello says, quote, yes, this is what we need to be doing. This level of election interference is intentionally deceiving. Getting 883 likes. JD Sharp says this is how you end propaganda, getting 456 likes. Yeah, it's all oddly reminiscent of 1984 by George Orwell, one of the best books of all time. Not a happy book, but it's actually quite depressing, especially when you consider how many parallels there are to the real world these days. But nevertheless, yeah, Just the creepy way with the government, in this case, CBS is rewriting history to make her sound better. It's a true 1984 fashion. I do have a contrarian comment brewing to the surface. Franklin, which is the weird leftist who's a guy with a anime picture of a girl, which he says, quote, I'm 100% sure he will lose that lawsuit, getting 12 likes, which, I mean, they clearly edited it to make her look better. Doesn't that sound like election interference? Now, he did get 22 responses. One most responded to a comment. Someone by the name of Doghouse Joe says, this is just food for his base. I guarantee they won't go anywhere, getting 2 likes. Ray says, no, he'll win, getting 9 likes. Michael Lawrence says, wishful thinking, easy case, solid proof, getting 5 likes. Hans, says, it's not about winning, it's about taking action, and the rest of the news stations knows that if they keep going, that shit is going to come back at them, getting 3 likes. Freedom Rocks says, I'm 100% sure you're an idiot, getting 4 likes. So most of the comments roasting Mr. Weird Franklin. Democrat Media TM says, this is the way. I think he should go after MSNBC and CNN as well for the propaganda and deception they portrayed about Trump as well. You don't hate them enough. In this picture, it says, the media is the enemy of the people, getting 35 likes, which, well, they're certainly not your friend. Gerald TM says, I think Trump has a case. In 2020, they hid the Hunter Biden laptop story, which most likely affected the outcome of the election. Okay, 178 likes, and it did. I mean, multiple polls, like, granted, it's small sample size. I think it was about 1,200 people. Well, they asked voters, Democrat voters specifically, if they knew about the Hunter Biden laptop story and they knew it was authentic, would they have switched their vote? And they said about 10% of them said yes. That's more than margin of error. Trump would have won if that were the case. Scrolling down more and more. Let's see. Fight with Meme says, screening out her word salad is full-time job, and it looks like a detective picture with all the photos on the table. It says CNN deciding what clips make Kamala look least incompetent, getting 143 likes, which that's a tall order. That's a rough job there. That's a challenging job, to say the least. Now, obviously, I don't think it's going to, this lawsuit, most lawsuits, again, they take a long time. This isn't going to be resolved before the election, obviously. But, again, in terms of deceptive media and kind of broadcast, or shining a light on the situation, I think it's a good move on the political chessboard for Trump and his team. And I hope this brings more people to realize, well, yeah, the media is deceptively making Kamala look better and better. I mean, MSNBC, thanks to Louder Crowder and their undercover reporters, they actually found that MSNBC was intentionally make their audiences dumber and to just hate people just based on political affiliation. They were propping Kamala up, saying, oh, yeah, we're doing everything we can to push her ideas out there to get people to vote for her. I mean, clearly election interference. But let me know in the comments, do you think this lawsuit has, any leg to stand on, so to say? Do you think it'll actually win at the end of the day? And do you think it's a smart move? Let me know, because, as always, be fascinated to hear what you have to say. Other interesting political news, you have Tim Walz calling Elon Musk gay, which, interesting move there, Tim Walz. Interesting move. I mean, this did get Tim Walz in the news. That's a rare thing. He's usually pretty busy about lying about, having the stolen valor, and was it IVF, and then putting tampons in boys' restrooms. He's a pretty busy guy, as well as ordering police to shoot people with paintball guns when they disobey the curfew in Minnesota, and letting his city burn during the George Floyd summer love riots. He's a busy guy. Now this comes to us thanks to Doge Designer. Now Tim Walz did one thing right. He did wear a suit. So I'll give him that credit. Although not the best jacket shirt combo, but nevertheless he did kind of suit up. Now, Doge Designer says, quote, breaking, the Democratic vice president candidate, Tim Walz, called Elon Musk a gay guy. This is beyond pathetic. Elon Musk is a national asset and deserves respect, regardless of the party or candidate he supports. Shame on Democrats, which, again, if this is the 1990s, you would guess that this is a pejorative slur, back then it used to be stupid, used to mean you're somewhat stupid or something like that. But this is from the Progressive Party where I guess they consider it nowadays a compliment. And I don't know what Tim Walz is thinking, because I'm not seeing, I don't see how this would actually make Tim Walz look better, or, make Elon look worse. Because, obviously, if you look at Elon's life, he has more kids than most. I think he has up to 12 by now. So, in terms of the technical, vernacular, no, he's not. He kind of has a proven track record of not being gay, if you want to get into technicalities. But, again, does this make you want to support Tim Walz? Not at all. We'll hear it straight from the horse's mouth, so to say. We'll maximize the screen here. There's Tim Walz at the podium. I mean, of course, the message on the podium doesn't have anything about their ideals or thoughts or even his name, which, again, their party, a lot of people in the party are just saying vote blue no matter who, which mentally vacuous. You shouldn't do that. Even if you're on the right as well, you should always be able to give 3 coherent reasons that you should vote for candidate, at least I think. And of course, the little placard from Tim Walz at the podium just says, text vote to some number. And it says Detroit, Michigan on the top in small font. Which, don't forget, Kamala wants to make the whole U.S. like Detroit, which should have shot her campaign down in New York a minute. Because anyone who's been to Detroit in the past century would laugh and say, oh yeah, that's a terrible idea. We need to get the hell out. Which is why my family got out as soon as they could. And we have some relatives who live in the suburbs. And, more often than not, we invite them to come to us. Let's just say that much. But not too much further ado.
If you're a billionaire, Elon Musk, for example, say, that guy got it. Michigan knows that word. Look, that dude got a tax cut. If you're a billionaire.
Oh, don't forget, Elon Musk paid more taxes than anyone in history. And yet the government still ran a deficit. They're so inept with our money. Like, it's never enough. Don't even get me started on the taxes. The top 1% paying, 40% of all the federal income? Ridiculous. Now, it's pretty valuable. Not as valuable as I thought. Got 149,000 views. Well, it's just, again, from Doge Designer. A lot of people reposting it and 2.5 thousand likes. One of the first comments comes from Elon Musk himself saying, quote, I have no problem being called gay. TBH. Getting 3.2 thousand likes, which, again, it's 2024. I don't know many people who consider, on average, I don't think much people think that's an insult anymore these days, especially because, they know Elon's not. But I still understand what Tim Walz is going for in this situation. Now, you also have Robbie Starbucks saying, quote, says the guy who puts tampons in boys' restrooms, getting 81 likes. Which, yeah, that's weird. Libercat Media TM says, oh, Elon Musk response to this should be golden. Can't wait to see him stick a tampon in Tim. And it's a picture of Tim Walz with a tampon in his nose, getting 45 likes. Let's see. American Papa Bear says, quote, can't wait to hear Elon Musk's response to this, getting 82 likes, which, again, Elon's response was, I have no problem being called gay. Getting 3.3? 3.2 thousand likes. Nick J says he's projecting as Tim Walz creepily dancing to the podium, getting 84 likes, which, yeah, I don't know any guys who walk like that who, yeah, it's a very unusual walk he's going for. Now, again, he did put a jacket on, did something right in that little campaign photo, but that's more akin to frolicking, which I don't know anyone who's doing that on the campaign trails these days. So I guess that's a unique marketing technique he's going for, I guess. Again, click that subscribe button. I have that theory. When I first, with my speaking ineptitudes, my stuttering, when I first started the show, basically no subscribers, except me and my parents, and I spoke terribly. I spoke a mile a minute. I, stumbled over, I mispronounced a lot of things. I didn't enunciate enough, mostly monotone, and I stumbled over my words worse than Joe Biden trying to climb upstairs. However, as I slowly but surely gain more subscribers, I become more and more articulate in my speaking. Granted, some might say it's just modicum of improvement, but a slowly but surely improvement nevertheless, fueling my theory that if you click that button and tell your friends, I might someday go through an entire episode speaking perfectly articulately. Someday. So, again, if you can click that button and tell your friends, or shoot, tell your enemies. Show this to your enemies. They might become your friends, or they might become so irate because they hate the content that you end up just poking the bear and making the situation worse. But at least you have a funny story out of it. So, just for a reminder to click that button and tell your friends. You have Val saying, quote, Tampon Tim is the last person that needs to be calling another man gay, getting 45 likes, which, again, most people don't see it as an insult these days. I really don't see, I still don't get what Tim was going for here. Alpha Bravo says Elon Musk has more babies than Tim Walz has brain cells, which that's a low bar in terms of brain cells of Tim Walz, but also true. Getting 61 likes. Let's see. Stock Squirrel on YouTube said it says he's a dumb guy. It's a picture of Dumb and Dumber, but it's in Photoshop, so it's Kamala Harris and Tim Walz, getting 28 likes. Malcolm Flex says, quote, why would the party that champions gay rights and the LGBT positive messaging use the word gay as a pejorative towards Elon? Getting 54 likes, let's make it 55 likes. Good question. Let's see here. Fight with memes. No, they didn't respond in meme form. A little disappointed with that name and the lack of a meme, but nevertheless, this alleged Fight with Memes account says, quote, this effeminate, well, can't think of a way to keep this family friendly, so I'll just say this effeminate man calling Elon gay is a peak irony. There's a picture of Tim flamboyantly waving around with Kamala Harris getting 39 likes. Let's see here. Mega American Woman says, quote, Elon is not interested in you. He has 3 wives and 11 children. He's busy. America loves Elon. This picture of Elon with the MAGA hat behind American flag. 41 likes. Jeez. There's a very famous interview with the African American reporter, and he basically asked someone, why are you gay? And it went viral years ago, and the memes still go viral to this day. I mean, it's standing the meme test of time, and they photoshopped him juxtapositioned with Tim Walz, and Tim Walz is trying to take a picture with a smartphone in the most awkward way possible, holding it above his head. And his other hand is, how do I call it? It's almost like a Frenchman holding a cigarette, very limply. And fight with memes. A+, they did in fact respond to meme form this time. So it's quote, Walz, Elon Musk is gay, also Walz. And it's Tim Walz. Yeah, who holds a smartphone with one hand when you're trying to take a picture? And of course, he's with Marxist Sean Fain there as well. And yeah, got 27 likes. So as a sports balls metaphor would say, it's an interesting move there, Cotton. Let's see what happens, because again, Elon Musk is supporting Donald Trump, so that's your opponent in terms of politics. So apparently, Tim's trying to be bombastic, or I would guess he's trying to use it in a negative light towards Elon. In which case, most people, especially the LGBT community, should be irate with Tim in terms of using that term in a pejorative manner. Which again, they should be irate. They should be. The support for Tim Walz should crater like a Boeing airplane. We'll see if it actually does, or if they just, stick the mantra, vote blue no matter who. But again, one of the weirdest things Tim Walz can possibly say, and for most people, it's to tank a campaign overnight. I don't know if it will or not, but let me know in the comments. Do you think, I don't know how Tim Walz recovers from this. Again, he's also the, respective VP, so there's not as much attention or spotlight on him. But yeah, as he would say, it was a weird move. And I can't help but think this will only hurt him in the polls and upcoming election. But let me know your thoughts, because as always, be fascinated to hear what you have to say. Other interesting political news: you have ABC accidentally aired the presidential election results. It's yeah, interesting about that, and it hasn't happened yet. Huh. Now this comes to us thanks to End Wokeness, which he says, quote, ABC accidentally aired election results of Harris winning Pennsylvania by 5% with 100% of the results in. Which, yeah, spoiler alert, election's tomorrow. Yeah. Now, if we zoom in, it looks like this is actually, what is it, F-150 racing? Well, not F-150. That would be much more interesting, some might argue. There's still automatic transmission only, a little disappointing. But I believe it's actually, well, seriousness, F1 racing. Now, in this screenshot, it looks like it was from ABC 16 affiliate, but he has Harris at 52% at 3.2 million, and Trump at 47% at 2.99 million. And it says, reporting 100%, which that's not suspicious at all. That's not a conspiracy theory. Yeah. Although I like to call them more and more conspiracy theories are just previews these days, but I partially jest. Which everyone should be pretty concerned about that. How do they know the results already? Again, this isn't like a regular news outlet where they're showing you like maybe a local poll, like those are pretty common. Like you'll see this almost like a stock ticker. We'll talk about some presidential polls. Again, a lot of polls are pretty easy. Between 200 and 1,500 people are sampled. Oh, I've never been called, but apparently people are called and polled. But this shows all the votes in and 100% reporting. Interesting thing to happen. Can't help but think some intern is fired. Now, sorry, pretty viral. Got 33.7 million views as well as 130,000 likes. When the first comments coming from Ed Wokeness himself, saying, quote, "This is exactly why everyone needs to go vote. We must make it too big to rig," getting 45,000 likes. General Mike Flynn says, quote, "Her campaign and the media are keep the polls and the race close so they can plausibly deny the victory with Trump. A total setup. What's going on here? ABC getting 10,000 likes. Gunther Eagleman says, quote, "Pennsylvania will cheat," getting 9.2 thousand likes. Tara Bull says, "We all know the truth." And it's a predictive poll. Doesn't give us a sample size. I believe it's from the betting website. But it has Trump at 67% and Kamala Harris at 33.2%. That got 3.2 thousand likes. Paul Rugg says, "A local ABC channel has no clue what the election results will be. The only thing you can do is vote and drag your friends and family members out with you." True, getting 10,000 likes. Arthur Eagleman also said, "Vote, vote, vote, too big to rig," getting 3,000 likes. Paul Zupa says, quote, "They're rubbing it in our faces that they're cheating," getting 2.4 thousand likes. Face Electrician did another screenshot of the same event. It says this shit again, getting 1.5 thousand likes. A little disappointed here. Planet of Memes did not in fact respond in meme form, but nevertheless, we'll say this alleged Planet of Memes says, quote, it seems like this happens every election season, getting 616 likes. American Papa Bear says, what the F is this? Getting 900 likes. Cool Christian Engineer, good profile name, exactly what he does for a living, and his religion affiliation. Those interesting to know the temperature he's at. Perhaps he lives in a colder climate. I'm only partially kidding. He says, quote, they're on to their cheating game again, getting 54 likes. Chuck Costello says, huh, getting 377 likes. Declaration of Memes, cool profile name because they did in fact respond in meme form. Says, quote, the team of liars and frauds are at it again. And it's one of the White House press secretaries from the Biden administration. I forget her name. It says, quote, the party that says men can get pregnant wants to control disinformation on the internet. Getting 16,000 likes. Florida 1 says no accidents in politics. And Special FDR says, quote, in politics, nothing happens by accident. If it happens, you can bet it was planned that way. Getting 3.2 thousand likes. Going down more and more. No contrarian comments yet. Christian Ray says, why isn't someone at the RNC calling the ABC and finding out why this was posted? We need people on the ground at some of the T states. Gotta be a typo there. In order to move fast and get in the course, getting through 2.7 thousand likes. Rolling down more and more. Travis says these accidents, quote unquote, only ever happen in one direction, getting 6.2 thousand likes, which yeah, it's funny how that happens. Total coincidence, I'm sure. Let's see. One bad dude says the cheat is on, stop the steal, getting 5.6 thousand likes. Alan says, don't let this happen again. And it's the picture of there's the voting coming in during the 2020 election where, again, you had the consistent increase of Republican votes or votes for Trump. Then we had a slightly a decreased rate, but the same kind of curve of people voting for Biden. Then all of a sudden at 3 morning, bam, the votes for Biden came in. Interestingly enough, that got 6.8 thousand likes. Let's see. Life God gun memes. There's no gun in the picture. We'll say this alleged meme profile says, you can't trust ABC, but can't be too careless either. If you haven't voted for Trump in Pennsylvania, then what are y'all waiting for? Look at the policies and you'll see Trump is better. Remember this. And it's a little infographic says, in case you're undecided, inflation rate when Trump was in office at 1.9%. When Biden was in office is 17%. Gas prices for Trump average is $2.17 per gallon. Harris is $3.96 per gallon. Average rent when Trump was in office was $1,096. In Kamala's office is $2,395. NASDAQ under Trump was increased by 62%, while Kamala Harris is up 13.8%. Grocery prices were up 3.5% under Trump, up 25% over Biden-Harris, which, again, if anyone ever tells you the grocery stores are greedy or they're overcharging people or because they just want more profit, just tell them to take 0.2 of a second to Google it. Even Google will tell you the real data for this specific subject, or more accurately, Brave search it. The average profit for a grocery store is 2%. Albertsons, one of the largest chains, made 1.6% last fiscal quarter. Walmart's a little bit more because they have clothing and other stuff. It's like 2.7%. It's not profitable to sell groceries. That's why they have to sell other things to stay in business. Yeah, that's not why grocery prices are going up. It's not because it's profit. It's because the cost of goods are being increased because of inflation. Now, electricity, Trump, no change. Electricity under Kamala Harris up 21.43%. Then real average hourly earnings, 7.1% when Trump was in office, and negative 3.5% when Kamala Harris and Biden was in office. They got 1,000 likes. And I'll probably end it there. Again, I'm not seeing any contrarian statements at the moment. And yeah, it's interesting. And it wasn't a quick screenshot. It looks like they played that throughout the whole race. Yeah, because you see a lot of other screenshots of that people the same thing. Harris 52%, Trump 47%, with 100% being reported. It's yeah, quite suspicious to say the least. We'll see if investigative reporter. We'll see if anything gets down in terms of do we find an answer at the end of the day? Are they going to claim it's just it's a simple typo by Johnny in the newsroom? And then what are your thoughts? Do you think it was just an honest mistake? Do you think they got the preview early? Let me know in the comments, because as always, be fascinated to hear what you have to say. Now, going over to the business blunder of the day, you have McDonald's E. Coli outbreak spreads, and it's not looking good. Now, this comes to us thanks to James Powell, who's a writer at USA Today, which he says, quote, McDonald's E. coli outbreak, 15 new cases identified with 5 hospitalizations. I'll also bring up the little map here, which has not yet affected the great country of Texas yet, so we're good here. Oh, scrolling down here, they say the U.S. Centers for Disease Control identified 15 new cases of E. coli poisoning linked to the onions in quarter pounders sold at the fast food chain. The cases were from before McDonald's suspended the use of onions from distributor Tyler Farms, Colorado Springs facility. The agency also announced 5 new hospitalizations attributed to the outbreak, bringing the total number of hospitalizations to 27 and the total number of cases to 90. Unfortunately, someone did pass away. They know that one person died in Colorado due to the outbreak. The fast food giant apologized for the outbreak in an investor call last week with CEO Chris Kempczynski saying that he was, quote, relieved that the situation appears to be contained and I remain confident in the safety of eating at McDonald's, unquote. They say, quote, at least 3 lawsuits have been filed against McDonald's in retaliation to the outbreak. The lawyers for those who have already filed suit anticipating more to come, which, yeah, that's not great. In terms of the states that are most affected, it looks like Colorado has the most illnesses at 29. Also have Montana at 17, Nebraska at 12, Missouri at 8. You have Iowa at 1, Kansas at 1, Wyoming at 5, Utah at 7, New Mexico at 5, Utah 1, Washington 1, and Michigan 2. So, and then Wisconsin 1. So definitely not good news for McDonald's, which, I mean, again, the value prop of fast food is really dissolved past couple years, especially. I mean, it used to be fast, cheap, and, you know, convenient, which not really any of those things these days. And now the fact that, again, the supply chain with food, there are a lot, unfortunately, negative things do happen in most food industries, most restaurants. There's usually, they'll have some mistakes. It's almost inevitable. But if, again, the fact that they're already having a lot of challenges at McDonald's, the fact that they didn't further scrutinize their supply chain, in this case, a specific supplier, and now continues to spread as even more people may hurt from it, even some passing away from it. I gotta say, McDonald's is certainly the business blunder of the day. Thank you, everyone, for taking the time to tune in. Again, trying to get to 4,000 subscribers by the end of the month, so if you can click that button, I greatly appreciate it. Also, give me a thumbs up, thumbs down, or comment is a great way to give me some additional feedback, letting me know I can make the show better and better. Lastly, don't forget to take time to tell your family, tell your friends, tell your coworkers, heck, tell your enemies, to anyone and everyone. Just stay safe, fight the good fight.